Hello, and welcome to the Pep Talk studio at the Global Society of Empowered Women. So happy to be bringing you yet another wonderful, wonderful guest on Pep Talk, something that is going to resonate with so many women, particularly business owners, entrepreneurs, working women at large, if you will. And I'm not going to say too much more about her, just that I am excited to introduce you to her, her to you. Please welcome Blair Koch. Hey,
Hello, Beth. So
how
great to
are
be
you?
here.
Lovely, lovely to have you. You know, well, let me just give a little background. You yourself are a business owner. You are also a business lifestyle expert. I'm not so familiar with that term. But I'm fascinated by it. What is a business lifestyle expert?
It's a great question. And so it is somebody who focuses, or what I focus on, because as you said, I'm a business owner. I love business, it's fun. But really, and our businesses, like our life, has different cycles from beginning to right all the way to the end. And when we think about lifestyle, when we think about business, it's not about business and life or life, it's business and life together. How do we integrate that and have that rich, fulfilling life that we all deserve?
Oh my goodness, you just hit the nail on the head. A conversation that I think business women, women business owners, and working women have been trying to figure out. We hear that term a lot, work life balance.
Mhm.
Is there such a thing?
Not in my book.
All right. I read that book too. I
It,
read
it,
that book too.
it's a great question and it's such a rich topic. So I actually call it biz life happiness. And I say that because as a business owner, as an entrepreneur, if you're thinking about being a business owner, or as a working woman, like there are just times when you're going to be working more. Period. Like that's just part of the life cycle. There's going to be times where it's more intense. You have to put in a little bit more. It's going to take more time and energy. And we have to go with that flow. We have that responsibility to our organization, to our employees, to our people, and to ourselves because this is our commitment. And on the flip side, there's times when we get to play more. And you can define play however you want it, right? But we get to have fun, we spend family time, and sometimes it's working and playing, but just like, hey, I'm taking the afternoon off, or on Wednesday, I'm going shopping. It isn't a balance thing. You're not going to have equality, for lack of a better word, between how much you work and how much you don't work. It's not reality. And there's going to also be times, particularly as women, where something comes up with the family. A kid
Mhm,
is
mhm,
sick,
mhm.
whatever. Like that's what we do. We step in and we're like, I got it. And so that's when you hopefully have your business at a good enough point, or you're working to get your business to what I call a performing asset, where it's like it's fine. It's running itself, or running itself well enough so
Well
that
enough.
you're like, I'm putting my priorities where I need to. And right now, it's family.
So I like that explanation. So what I'm hearing, correct me if I'm wrong, is that as an entrepreneur, listen, it's like raising a child that never grows up. It's like, it never goes off to college, although you're saying when it's working well enough that it's kind of, maintaining itself. I like that. But it's not a 9 to 5 situation.
No.
But it gives you control to say, I'm willing to work until midnight tonight so I can take all of Friday off. You have that control as opposed to, I must be in the office 9 to 5 every day because that's the agreement I have with my employer. That's my responsibility as an
Correct.
employee.
Yeah.
So it gives you a little bit more control of your own time, which doesn't mean you're working less because that doesn't happen.
Correct.
That doesn't happen. No, that doesn't happen. Last week there was an evening, a night, I was just having trouble sleeping. And I'm like, this is crazy. I'm having such wonderful creative thoughts. And sometimes you think that, and then the next morning you're like, What was so great about that? I was in the middle of sleep. I had no clue. Even if you remember, I got out of bed and from 4 to 6 a.m., I was on my computer and I got it all down and I
Right.
did even more. I was in that moment. Now, I'm not saying that's something that I do every night nor look to do every night, but in that moment, you have that opportunity. You can't always go to the office from 4 to 6 a.m., unlock the door and go in and do something. So,
Yeah.
so it's about choices like everything else. It's about we get to make a choice about the life we want to live, the lifestyle that we hope to create within the boundaries of what's possible in
Right.
our own situation.
That is correct. And I was going to say, or you forget, right, when you have those thoughts, but you're like, nope, I'm getting up, I'm writing it down so I don't forget. I think part of that also, which is much easier to say than to do, is about, if we always say about prioritizing and
Mm.
making choices. And the choices is a big thing, right? Which is no matter what your role in life, right? In the, do I really need to do this? Do I really need to do this now? Am I getting good ROI from this? Who else
Mm.
can do this or who can start it? Or like we do a lot of things that we really don't need to do.
But
And
so is that part of the entrepreneurial personality profile that we want to have control in everything and we're not smart enough? We're ambitious enough, but we need to then be smart enough to say, I can't wear all of those hats. These are the 2 or 3 that I'm really good at. And now I need to get other people to put on that hat.
yeah, yes, right. And I think it's a combination. So definitely as entrepreneurs, business owners, like you have to learn and trust your people. Like I don't always need to do this. I have a team. I've trained the team. I need to let them go do their thing. They're going to make mistakes. I'm okay with them making mistakes as long as they're learning from them. And I have to get out of the way. It's really easy to say that. Like it's hard to do though, because your business is your baby. Like, no, 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 nobody can do it as good as me. It's mine. But in fact, if you want the growth, if you want the freedom, time, money, freedom, like you have to learn to do that.
Mm.
And I think and it's a journey. Like it's a continuous journey, I think.
Well,
As
so
we
so going back to your business life cycle, let's kind of incorporate that. It's like the cycle of raising a child, because I often liken growing
Yes.
a business to raising a child. Um, that the cycles you go through. So share with us then what the cycles are and the best way to navigate that journey.
Sure. So in the beginning, it might be just you. And then in that case, A, you're working really hard, but B, you still have to make those choices. Do I have to, and it depends, and I'm making an assumption here, which is never good, but I'm assuming you want to grow to a point where you want to have a few employees. If you don't want to have employees, which is a totally fine, like there's a lot of beauty in no employees,
Yeah,
you
yeah.
still get to like, okay, well, there's these things I should do, but I'm choosing not to do them because then I'm a slave to my business. And this is cool and it would be great, but I'm really not going to get that much value from it. So I'm going to leave it or outsource it. In the growth perspective, right, then it's okay, for right now, I need to do this to a point where it's good enough. Good enough. There's no such thing as perfect. So for the perfectionists out there, leave it, check it at the door, right? Because it can always be better, but you just need to get the thing to a good enough point and then move on to the next thing or the next set of things or to where somebody else can take over the thing. So in the beginning, when you have fewer resources, time, money, people, your energy, you are going to do more. And that's a choice you make in starting your own
Right,
business, right? You're
right,
like, hey, honey, or, if there's a honey, like,
right.
I want to do this. It's important. Uh,
Yeah.
and you make choices. As the business grows, right? Now hopefully you're making more money, you have more revenue, you have more resources. Now you can have other help. That help might be outsourced help. It might be a part-time employee. It might be a full-timer, and you keep growing. And they're bringing expertise that you don't have. So I
Right.
thing about surrounding yourself with people better than you. Like, I don't want to
Yes.
be the best.
Yes.
I
Yes.
I want to surround myself with people better than me because I
Yes.
can never be the best.
I liken it to a sports team. Okay, baseball, we'll say. You want the all-star who can play each position, but it's not likely that the catcher can pitch or the pitcher could play shortstop. So you find the best in the business, hopefully, for that position,
Exactly.
and then work as a team,
That
because
is
the
exactly.
outcome then is based on the collective.
Yes. And it is knowing also that there's going to be some areas that they're just not good enough. And I'm okay with it not being good enough for right now. Because
So right
perhaps
now,
later in my business life cycle, as I keep growing, all of a sudden, like, oh, well, I need to make the investment to make this better.
but isn't that kind of innately how a business grows? Like
It
one
should
day
be.
you think it's good enough, and the next day it could be the exact same thing. But now you're realizing on that timeline, on that cycle,
Yes.
you're ready to take another step. It's
Correct.
not that it was wrong, you're just ready for the growth.
That
And
is
you see
correct.
the vision. And sometimes that vision comes from one of your team members who brings a different perspective, as I call it, a tilt of the head, and gives you another view. And then it's an aha moment.
Agreed. It can come from other team members. It also comes from customers. Like,
Yes,
oh, this used to work, but now we have more customers and now it doesn't work. A process or
right.
a
Systems, creating systems, automating things. Right,
yes.
right,
Yes.
right. So
Streamlining.
being an entrepreneur, listen, I've worked with so many entrepreneurs for 30 plus years, women, and have gotten into business where you think that they really understand it, and then when they're in business and they come back to you a year later and they say, oh my gosh, I'm working 40 hours a week, what am I doing wrong? I said, what are you doing wrong? I'm working 80 hours
What
a
are you
week.
doing
What am
right?
I doing wrong? What am I doing wrong? So it's about choices and entrepreneurship. And I've spoken on this to big groups of people, to budding entrepreneurs. I call it a curse. It's like it's part of who you are. It's innately born in you. I'm the daughter of my dad was an entrepreneur, so I truly think it's in my DNA. I have sisters and brothers who are like, why do you want to do this? At your age, why do you want to still be working? It's like, because I love it, because I love it. And I want to help other people find out if it's right for them. So, one of your great, great talents is that of being a keynote speaker. And I know that you're a certified, you graduated from the Heroic Public Speaking School. I love that. I love heroic. I love that. What's your keynote when you're speaking to a group?
My keynote is called Beyond Business. Be the CEO of your life. And it's around these things that you and I are talking about right here. And we just go so much deeper. And particularly as women, I mean, for men too, of course, right? But particularly for women, so many of us, we have to do it all. It has to be right, whatever right is. And we give and give and give, and we give to everybody except ourselves.
Right.
And I have many stories
I'm sure.
about it doesn't work that way.
No, no.
You're right. It's not healthy in any way. You know this. I too am the daughter of an entrepreneur. It is in my blood. I love business. It's fun, but it's hard. And so we need to recognize that there's so many rewards. Like, oh, it's so rewarding in many ways, but it typically only works or works best when we figure out how to have the richness of the business and the fulfilling life. Whatever
Right.
that looks like for you. For some, it's family. For some, it's
Right.
not family, it's travel. Right? There's no right or wrong, but it is having that integrated, holistic approach.
Yes. So I always say, what's your why? Why do you want to do this? Your why has to be so, so big. It has to be, I think, for me, the why was like, well, why not?
Right.
I think I can, and I'm willing to. My dad used to say to me, hey, if you're willing to put in the work and you're willing and to be accountable for the results, do it. I thought that's like the best advice.
Right.
I'm not looking to be easier. I'm not looking to be controlling other people. I was looking, I think, truly to fulfill my destiny as his daughter. But your why has to be very. Now, during the pandemic, a lot of women, I've spoken to so many of them, when they had to switch to working to home because of the pandemic,
Mhm.
and dealing with the children. And somehow the husband, the daddy, the man in the house, whatever, his life went on. You know,
Right.
he didn't leave corporate America. He still did his thing. And it was still about the homework, the homeschooling, the getting the meals, the laundry, et cetera, et cetera. Women are so good at multitasking.
Mhm.
But the why, if you're getting to the point where you're resenting it, you're doing something wrong. You're
Yes.
definitely doing something wrong. But that's when a lot of women realized I can and I want to. So, with your keynote, I know that you talk about beyond business. Be the CEO of your life. Because as we've discussed, you can't put, it's what I call the blurred lines. Remember that song? There's not a definite line
Correct.
that one doesn't end and one doesn't begin. So, what is your best advice for being the CEO of your life?
Love that question. Thank you. For anybody, the best place to start with the CEO of life is to go very deep and crystallize your personal vision or your life vision. This is your roadmap in life. What do you want to do? Do you want to retire, semi retire? When? What are you going to go do? Who are you going to do it with? How much money do you need? Like, go really deep and like, what's important to me? What's important in terms of health and fitness? What's important intellectually, character, spiritual, family, social, right? And then, of course, financial and career. Like, there's a lot of aspects to life that we tend not to put time and energy into. We don't think about it. And the moment you choose to like, I want to, and this doesn't matter how old you are, right?
No.
What is that path? What's important? Because now you do have a roadmap. You're not going to be able to do it all at once. You know, maybe you do something that's like a 5-year vision and then
Mm,
you redo it because you've accomplished things. Things have changed, right? And you change. But now you can when you we talked about making those choices. When we're making choices, we can say, does this help move us towards achieving our life vision? Yes or no? It helps simplify. I mean, decisions are hard, choices are hard, right? But it certainly helps simplify. If it doesn't, but you really want to do it, okay, well, let's talk about that, right? Like,
mm,
do I modify? Do I course correct? Like, it's not that you can't do it. Again, it's no right or wrong. It's what's best for you. But if
right.
you have that clarity of where you're going, different ballgame. It would be like, uh, if you choose to take a road trip and we get in the car, we get everything all packed up. We have no idea where we're going. We're just gonna drive. Okay, well, that's cool, but how do you know if you get there? How do you like, there's just a lot of it's free, no doubt about that, right? It's definitely free because, like, wherever you go is where you go. But especially with the kids and the family and the right, like, you need help with that direction.
So you're saying better to have a map to know where it is that you hope to arrive. And then again, know, well, what is it that we or I, the entrepreneur, what is it that I want to do once I get there? What's the
Exactly.
feeling I want to have? What's the legacy I want to leave?
Correct.
Do I want to retire? Do I want to sell the business? Do I want to keep it going? Lots of decisions. And those are all decisions that can be made all along the way. Like you can pull over
Correct.
on that journey. You can get off at a rest stop. You
Yes.
can you can pull over on the side of the road.
Yeah.
You can shut down a little bit. Like we're saying, you have the control over your time more than
Exactly.
an employee has.
Or
Um,
you can choose to say, you know what, we're still going here, but you know what, we're going to take a longer path because we really want to go and see X. That's fine.
and,
Totally
and
okay.
and it makes life more fun. I like spontaneity, more fulfilling. And you know what? The word you don't want, especially if it's a female entrepreneur with her children or spouse, what have you, to be resented for the time and attention and the purpose of everything that you do is about the business. Now, you know in your heart the result of the business is going to benefit them, but don't lose that in the moment.
Correct.
Don't, be mindful of those who are on the journey with you. Let's say you have passengers.
Exactly. You have passengers. I love that, right? Yes. And And that is also to the, especially right when you do, when you're a work at home mom, you have the kids, you have the husband. Um, for many entrepreneurs or anybody, right? This applies if you work in a manufacturing environment, or something like that. Perhaps it's more difficult. You can still take those road trips. You can have those experiences like travel and like those are amazing life experiences and they're great for your kids, right? Like poof. And just be like, okay, we're going to do this, but know ahead, plan ahead. Like, I'm going to be checking in. I'm going to spend an hour,
Right.
whatever.
And
Choices.
and let's be very clear about this, Blair. The world needs both types.
Yes.
Everybody in the world cannot be an entrepreneur. That
Correct.
won't work. That
Correct.
won't work. The backbone of America, of the world economy, are people on what I'll refer to as assembly lines. That
Mhm.
is the backbone of all economy, of all manufacturing. Everybody doesn't. Have women been pressured into saying you should have your own business? Has there been a pressure put on women? Why aren't you and why haven't you started your own business?
That's a great question. I wish I knew the answer to it. I think
Yeah,
it's as the whole women's everything has taken its journey,
right.
sometimes things go a little bit too far one way and they need to come back center.
Well,
I
it's taken its journey, but it's also taken its toll.
Yes, very much so. And I think there's some who you alluded to it earlier and you said it right, like they don't really know how much there is to it. And so they think, "Oh, I'll just go do my own thing." And even if it's a solopreneur, right? No employees. eh, Oh, wow. Like this is really hard. I'm really good at doing X, but most like they're not really good at selling. Like, oh, I have to sell too. Like they just don't flock to me.
Oh,
So
yeah,
and I think that's hard. And I think depending on your financial situation, that also drives people to more like, oh my God, like I need the money, I need it now. Mm, So I don't know if it's a societal thing. I think there's people who would love it. I think there's those who are great at it.
mm,
Um, and there's still family and there's still choices. And do I have the fortitude
mm.
to do this?
It
And
goes back to the why. It goes back. How big is your why?
it goes back to the why. And I mean, going in, you have no idea what it takes. Period.
No, you
No
don't.
matter how
And
many, you have no idea.
that's part of the fun. It's the exploration. Otherwise, you know what? If you want to be a business owner, but you really want a charted
Mhm.
journey, so to speak, become a franchisee.
Correct. And it's
They'll give
still
you.
hard. I
It's
have a
still hard.
franchise.
You
And
did.
it
Oh
is
my goodness.
absolutely my business, and is there a lot of stuff I get as a franchisee? Absolutely. Do I love it? Absolutely. At the end of the day, though, I'm still a business owner, and I'm still
Yep.
responsible for
Yep.
making it
Yep.
happen.
Yep. 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 Oh my goodness, so much. So, I think we're contemporaries, part of the generation of we had to have it all. We were
Yeah.
told that we were lacking if we didn't have it all, and there must be something wrong with us if we didn't want it all. If
Yeah.
we didn't want it all. So
Yeah.
all the balls up in the air, and there were a lot of missed steps.
Mhm.
I think just Blair, in life in general, it's the only thing we're going to run out of is time. Use your time that satisfies you, that fills your needs, your heart's desire. That's what Bep Talks is all about. Hello, beliefs, experience, passion. That's why we're here.
Yes.
That kind of went right over my head for the minute. That's why we're here. What are your beliefs? What are you
Right.
passionate about?
Right.
What do you feel fulfills you the best? If it's not fulfilling you the best, count on it not being of great value to other people either.
That's
The
yeah.
person you have to sell it to is yourself.
Indeed. And I think also, whether you are an entrepreneur or a business owner or you're even thinking about it, your family component matters as well. If it's just like when I started my own thing, I was single. So it was me, myself, and I, and like, okay. Um, but even now, married or if you're in a relationship, what's best for your family. For some women, they have very successfully said, I'm going to be, have the agreement with their partner. I'm going to be the breadwinner. You're the one who you do your thing, but like we agree that you're doing a lot of that household stuff.
Right. Call
And the
call me
kid,
when dinner is ready. Right.
right?
Right.
And and like I tell you, right, when my husband's stepping up and doing his things, like, oh, thank God, right? Because it's so much. I also know many women. I work with many women who uh, they come into work, they do their stuff in the morning, they do the family stuff, they come in, they go to work. At the end of the day, they go home to be with their family. All great. There's choices that they're making in that, right? I'm choosing to be with my family. I know that there is networking events or there's other things I would like to be doing, but I'm not.
Right. So it's not one size fits all. Know
Yeah.
yourself. Right. Write down your goals, write down your visions. The one thing that I have said in many of my talks is that don't ask for permission to be great. And don't apologize when you are. If women go out, and I have found this very near and dear to my own heart, if you're asking, what do you think about this? Should I do this? Should I do that? You have to live with those opinions, and they're often not what you want. And people think that they're protecting you by erring on the side of negativity. So I've started businesses that the nearest, not my husband, but my sisters and brothers, as an example, it's just like, oh, what is she? I wonder, what is she doing now? Kind of a thing. And it's always an extension of something else. It's always like, it's really not a new business. It's just an extension of myself, where I am in life, what I've learned,
Mhm.
who the wonderful people like yourself, who I've gotten to shake hands and hearts with along the way, that make you want to go to the next step on the journey.
It's that continued growth, right? The growth, the personal development. It's like, I got this down. I'm ready for the next thing. And I'm still doing my original thing, but I'm like taking it next level.
Right, right, right. But if you go back and you look at like the original vision, the original mission statement, you're like, you should be able to say, whoa, look at you, look at me. Blair,
Yeah.
I can talk to you because I love this topic. This is so near and dear to BEP, beliefs, experiences, and passions on a very personal basis. For people who want to connect with you,
Mhm.
share with us the best way for them to connect
Of
with you.
course. So I'm going to give you two ways, two websites. The first is blairekoch.com. The second is tabdenverwest.com. tabdenverwest.com. It is short for the Alternative Board. It is an organization, international. We work with business owners around the world doing exactly what we've been talking about here, and helping you grow your business and be the CEO of your life.
Don't you love talking about this?
I can talk all day.
Me too. As I said, oh my gosh, we have to be mindful. I know it's something that we believe so strongly, and we've experienced it so personally. And my goal is that if someone else has the right why, and that's not for me to determine, that's up to them. I'll help you in any way. And you might be surprised one way or the other of where you end up on the journey,
Yes.
but it's a journey worth taking. So Blaire, BLAIREKOCH.com. Blair E Coach.com. And there you're also going to find information about how you can hire or schedule Blair to do a keynote for your company, your organization, your event. And as you see, a keynote speaker worth having on your
Thank
schedule.
you. Or we
Yeah.
can just work on you and your business and your leadership development, building your leadership team.
One-on-one. So remember, be the CEO of your life. Learn to work to live, not just live to work. And find that balance, whatever it is. It's a judgment-free zone. The balance for you is going to be different than the balance for Blair or myself. So it's just about what sings to your heart. and what makes you feel that you are really contributing and impacting the lives of others. Because I think that for me is something that's very, very motivating.
For sure.
Blair, I have loved sharing this time with you. I've loved getting to know you. I have a strong feeling that we'll get to share some more time and thoughts and experiences again.
I
I
hope
hope
so.
so.
It's been a ton of fun. Thank you for having me,
Thank you.
Beth.
Thank you. So, to everybody watching, as always, thanks for tuning in to BEP Talks, where we bring you wonderful speakers, where we honor your beliefs, your experiences, your passions, and invite you to share them with others and inspire them, motivate them, educate them, encourage them, whatever it might be. So, as we always say at the Global Society of Empowered Women, may the best always be yet to come. Part of growth, always be looking ahead. May the best always be yet to come. That is my wish for you. So, until we talk again, be well. Bye for now. Thanks, Blair.
Thank you.